It's going to say that we are live, but it just means that we are recording.
Copy that. Okay.
I will do a countdown. I'll do my thing. I'll throw it over to you. Ready?
Yep.
All right. We'll get ready here in 3, 2. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the show. As I mentioned in the introduction, I am super excited to welcome on Mr. Dr. Jason Wersland he is the founder of Therabody. Doctor, I am a huge fan of everything that you guys do over there, and I am very excited to speak with you. How are you today?
I'm good. I love this. Anything to do with golf, I'm in.
Amen, sir. That's what I am too. And so one of the things that a lot of people want to know more about, especially on one of the networks that we're on, the hackersparadise.com, is just where you got the idea from or for Theragun, the benefits of it. And we're going to get to all of that. But for people who might not know the name of Dr. Jason, where did you get started? How did you found Therabody?
It was an accident, to be honest with you. I think that's probably the coolest part about this story, even today. I'm a chiropractor. I practice in Los Angeles. In 2007, I was on my motorcycle on the freeway, which I don't recommend to anyone in California. And I'm splitting traffic, and a car cut me off on the freeway, and I hit the side of this car going about 55 miles an hour. Oh. I ended up having a lot of soft tissue damage. You know, luckily for me at the time, I was probably in the best shape of my life, which made the injuries less acute. And I could actually walk away from the injury, but I ended up having a 9mm disc bulge in my neck at C5, C6 which if anyone understands that, there's a lot of pain and atrophy associated with that. I cut my arm open pretty good, jacked my knee pretty bad, but I didn't go to the hospital. I didn't have to. I sort of felt like I dodged a bullet, but that wasn't the case. Within 35, 40, 50 days, I'm suddenly now immobile. The pain is so bad that I can't sneeze, let alone breathe. I flew home to Utah during Christmas of 2007. So the accident was in October 17th, 2007. Mm-hmm. Christmas time, I flew home to Utah to be with my family and kids. And I actually, on the way back, my body got locked up on the airplane, and they had to wheel me off in a wheelchair.
Oh, wow.
So I think the point really is I was injured. And I think people look at Theragun and they think that it's an athlete's product, or it's something for recovery or something like that. So I'll give you some context. I now have a practice. I'm injured and I can't work. So my motivation is I need to find anything I can to get me better as fast as I can. And when you're injured, you're getting treated for, let's say, an hour a day. And that's even good. A lot of times you have days between treatments, but luckily I had a clinic, I had a business partner. I would go to the clinic and he'd treat me for an hour a day. Then I'd come back home and I'm stuck for 23 hours. So now I'm lonely, depressed, powerless, all those things that anyone that's had an injury understands. And for me, that was unacceptable. Mm-hmm. I'm a chiropractor. I knew what I needed. And I thought there has to be something I can do during these hours where I'm just sitting here. So long story short, my brother is a chiropractor in Utah. He'd been in a water skiing accident, and he had used something similar because he had an injury on his left side and of his neck. And it was a vibrating tool. It was called a vibrocussor, about the size of a Coke can.
Yep. Had
an adjustable speed on the bottom. I called my brother and I was like, "What did you use that for?" And he said, "Actually just would lodge it underneath my armpit. And it would take the pain away. The vibration would actually stimulate the nervous system and take the pain away." And I'm like, "God, that's exactly what I need." So I called my business partner. We had one at the office. I went and grabbed it. I started using it. But what happened, Adam, is the vibration wasn't strong enough. It was subtle enough, like you have a watch on. I saw that.
Yep.
Have you ever had a hat on and forgot you had a hat on?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Your body accommodates to that information. So it becomes less important and it's not sending a signal anymore to the brain. Well, that's what happened with this vibration. My body accommodated to it. And so it became less and less therapeutic. I wasn't able to put it where I needed it. So I grew up on a farm, and my family was super industrial. I spent a lot of my life installing floors and working around tools. And I like to call myself resourceful. I'm not an inventor. I'm a resourceful person. and necessity became the mother of invention. And I needed something. I didn't care what you called it, what the name of it was, who owned it. I didn't care, but I couldn't find something that I was looking for. And I needed something to punch my muscles underneath my armpit. So I made something. I literally went to the garage, grabbed a couple power tools, brought them in. I ended up making something for myself. And from roughly January of 2008 to about July of 2008, I just used this thing to get myself better. And I went through the same phases of injuries that everyone else does, but I just did it faster. So I had sort of this pain relieving, able to sleep, eat, the basics. And then as that got better, now I'm going to the gym and I'm now just increasing my range of motion, taking the tension off the joints, allowing the nervous system to heal. And then now I'm getting better. I'm back into rehab and I'm really starting to use this product. So the way it came about was from an injury. I got myself better the first 6 months of 2008 and I put it away because it had served its purpose. I was done. I thought I'll run across something like this in the world somewhere. It became less important to me because I was better.
Right.
Patient comes into my office one day. I'm looking at this guy's intake form and it's me all over again.
Huh, interesting.
Same age, similar injury. His insurance was terrible. And I knew he wasn't going to get the help that he needed. So I thought, it's the first time, Adam, I was like, wait a minute, I could use this on that guy. It's going to save my hands. I had just gone through what he's going through. I know how good it feels. So I gave him this ability. I said, listen, dude, I know this is crazy. I remember the first meeting with him and his wife. His wife was just looking at me like, are you crazy? But I sincerely, passionately told him, I just went through what you're going through right now. And the secret is to keep you out of pain between our visits. So I need to let you take this home. I know your injury's on this side, but I don't care where you put it. Just use it on your body and it will take the pain away and keep moving. I can't be with someone 24/7, just like my business partner couldn't be for me. But this thing was an extension of me. And I knew that if he used it the right way, he would get better. And he did. So I was the first patient. This guy was the second patient. And I just became a walking lab for the next 8 years.
Yeah.
From golf, I could tell you stories about being at a golf range in 2010 with one of my first versions. It was a plug-in. And I had to string this power cord, 200-foot power cord from the clubhouse to the driving range.
Right.
I set up on the driving range my old pop-up tent. And I put a chiropractic table out and I run in this thing that sounds like a freaking chainsaw. The guys are coming over saying, hey, can you leave? You're too noisy. Like, what is that thing, you crazy quack chiropractor? Get out of here.
Right.
And I got run off a lot of different places because they didn't understand the therapy that it was providing for them. Funny story, but I basically used these experiences to gather information. So from 2008 to 2015, I made 5 different versions, iterating every time on something better and better.
Oh, we've got a demonstration coming up here.
I had to shut the window. That guy was going.
Yeah.
So I started using this product on athletes in my clinic. I started gathering a lot of really cool information about what it could do for people. And I met my business partner in 2015. We launched Therabody, or Theragun at the time, in June of 16. E-commerce, shipping. We were basically an e-commerce product. It was social media and Instagram. We really grew with them. I remember when we first started using Instagram in 2009, I thought it was a joke. Like, no one's going to use this.
I think everybody did at that point.
I know, right? It was trying to copy Twitter or whatever that story was. But it was timing. I mean, I think a lot of times when you look at stories like what's happened with Therabody it's just timing. The sports world was ready for something like this. A lot of the things in that space have been antiquated, just different iterations of things that have been around since the 60s. So in 2014, I got invited to the New England Patriots preseason game, and I showed up with 22 Theraguns, and it's as many as I could pack with me on an airplane. And I sold those in 15, 20 minutes. I mean, it was like, bam, they're all buying them. And think about who was on the team at that time. Every guy that had a chance got one.
I'm a huge Patriots fan, by the way, so now I just like you even more. So continue, please.
I got some cool pictures from that experience.
I bet you do.
But I think that sort of opened my mind to how to speak to athletes. They didn't need the breakdown. They didn't care necessarily about the science. They just wanted to know, what does it do and how do I use it and where do I put it? And so it was a low-hanging fruit for me. And then what we're doing now with Therabody is we're coming back around to the everyday person.
Mm-hmm.
Sleep problems, standing or sitting at your desk for too long, ergonomics, running, just basic, trying to keep up with your fitness levels and stuff, because we all, don't get the chance to be able to have the team that Tom Brady does that take care of our body.
Right. Exactly.
So that's kind of how it happened, dude. I mean, in 2016, we launched G1. 1 year later, we launched G2 Pro, and that a lot of people know us for our G2 Pro, which is the first real product we made from scratch.
Mm-hmm.
And it was noisy. There's a story behind that as well. Then we launched our G3 a year later, and then we launched the Gen 4 series a year later, which is what you see now. And the products that you look at now, the Gen 4 series, those are like number 12, 13, and 14 that I've made over the last 14 years.
Wow.
And anyone else in this massage gun space, I'm going to say this humbly, but between the years of 2008 and 2016, I created this space. I was the only crazy dude walking around with this massage gun, and now you see them everywhere.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things I want to point out to people, the difference between our Theragun design and the other products that are on the market that look a little bit like a tomahawk or a hammer or something like that, is the ergonomics. And I don't think people understand the power of that. If I'm holding on to a tennis racket or a golf club, that's a perfect example. The golf club gets your power from your grip and your wrist speed.
Right.
And if you lose that, then you lose the ability to get your power. Well, I don't want that when I'm using it on myself or someone else. I need the machine to do the work. So these products that look like tomahawks, I'm having to grip that, and you're holding on to something super tight that vibrates. It's going to numb your senses. And now you're trying to apply that with the leverage that you need. Theragun and its ergonomics and the attachments and the way it's designed allows you to get to parts of your body. You don't have to push because it has that larger amplitude and torque, and it really provides the things you're looking for. We can talk about the science in a second, but
sure,
that's kind of how it came about. And I'm telling you, dude, I got asked this morning by someone. This has exceeded my expectations by leaps and bounds about where it's gone. But I think it's a testament, not to me, not to our marketing, but to the effectiveness of this product. If it didn't work, it wouldn't be where it's at right now. And this has never been about me. This is really about what the product does. And I see myself as a conduit of information, use cases, protocols that I'm obligated to make sure people have access to when they have a Theragun.
It's an incredible story, and thanks for sharing the detail there, because I know a lot of listeners to this have heard of Theragun, they've heard of Therabody, they want to feel better just so that they can go out and enjoy a game to kind of relinquish some stress in their life. And I'll be honest with you, Doctor, I was not aware of Theragun until the PGA Merchandise Show this year, where I went down with a team and I was walking around and I saw your booth. And I'm like, oh, that looks interesting. And I have to tell you right now, and this is probably going to get me in trouble, and listeners will make fun of me. I made it a point to keep coming back multiple times during the day because you were giving out the demos. It felt good.
Yeah.
But, ultimately, in all seriousness, though, this is a tool. And I showed you. I mean, I'm a fan. I'm a believer of it myself. I've got the Theragun Mini here. It's incredibly compact. You can fit it into your golf bag, which is exactly what I do. I'm going to go do that after we're done with our conversation here today. Golfers need to understand that this is part of your warm-up routine, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, the science is the amplitude and frequency is different than the other products on the market. So we actually go 60% deeper than the regular products that you see out there, any of our competitors. The difference is it's more effective and efficient, and it gives you what you need, and it has that therapeutic effect. Now, our frequency, which is 40 hertz, a lot of our competitors are higher than that, actually speaks to the brain in this gamma frequency, which gives you peace of mind. So it actually has a frequency that speaks to your thalamus, and I can be real geeky about the science behind that. But it also increases blood flow. It releases tension. And we did a study. We're right in the middle of doing a study about how this actually can increase your range of motion and your swing speed. And in golf, that's magic. And like Dustin Johnson, some of those guys that use the product will tell you that it actually increases their proprioception, which is where you are in space. And you think about the 9th, 10th, 12th, 13th hole, it's really hard to pay attention. You have to focus even harder on your drives or on those placed balls or those cut shots or whatever. And you really have to hit it right to be able to take something to use on your body for 20 seconds to increase your proprioception, wake up your nervous system. I'm telling you, it's like you said, it's like the perfect tool for a golfer. It's quiet, it's compact, it doesn't take a lot of time. It's something you can throw in your bag, and it does provide. I mean, if you've ever used this on the bottom of your feet, if you're driving a golf cart or you're walking, just throwing this on the bottom of your feet for 10 seconds.
Yeah,
it's addicting.
I'll have to try that. And I will say this right now, and listeners, I mean this wholeheartedly. I was suffering from golfer's elbow 2 weeks ago. No, maybe 3 weeks ago. With the use of my Theragun Mini, and I'm not just telling you this because you're on the show. I would tell you this if we met just at, wherever. With a little bit of use of the Theragun Mini, a few strengthening exercises, it's gone. It's absolutely gone. My pain is gone. I have full range of motion. It's absolutely fantastic. And the fact is like, look, I'm stuck at home just like so many other people right now across the globe. When I get out to the golf course, I don't want to have to deal with pain. I want to go out and enjoy myself. Your product, thank you. Your product helped me get back onto the course.
I'm not a name dropper, but I have to tell you, a guy named Larry David is an avid golfer, and he suffered from a similar ailment. And I'm telling you, it's the exact same story you just said.
Interesting.
It inhibited him from playing as often as he likes to, and be able to have something like this. And it took me some time to teach him how to use it, but now having something like this on his own, it's not inhibiting him from doing that anymore. And I can tell you, I've seen that from, some guys have hip issues, some guys have low back issues. A buddy of mine played golf in college and was trying to go to Q school and all that about 10 years ago. And he had a facet problem on his low back, got injections and all this stuff. And he ended up not being able to play. He still plays now, and he takes a Theragun with him everywhere he goes.
Isn't that crazy that this could actually prevent you from doing something so drastic as surgery?
Right.
And
you said it. I have to be careful. I can't.
No, I know you have to be careful, but I will say it. Like, look, you don't know what's going on in your body at that moment. You're feeling the pain. You know that you can't do a function that you want to do, whether it be. And I'm talking about everyday stuff here. I couldn't put a shirt on.
Oh wow.
It was very painful actually, and I had considered going and getting a specialist. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to try this thing out. I had remembered my experience at the merchandise show. I'm like, look, I'm going to try it. I'm just going to try it. And lo and behold, it worked out. It was incredible, And so anyway, I bring that up because listeners are listening to this and they're going to probably be like, okay, to your point that you brought up earlier, there are many products like this on the market. Is this really going to help me? And what I'm saying is just words. I hope that people understand that I'm being completely truthful with this. But what are some of the other pieces of feedback? You've mentioned some other names, Dustin Johnson. We see the commercial with Colin Morikawa, for example. I mean, you got to be hearing a lot of feedback.
Yeah, and look, when Colin, part of what interested us in Colin is he had his own authentic experience with Theragun. He'll tell the story, but in college he had it. It was part of his routine. His low back was always and low back is a problem for a lot of guys. Doesn't matter how, and he's not a huge person, by the way. I mean, he's just a powerful swinger. And so now he's dealing with low back pain. He has a Theragun, part of his routine. He's not having low back problems, makes it to the pros. And the only thing missing in his life was his Theragun. And he starts having low back problems. One of his first tournaments, and I don't remember, I have to be careful and paraphrase what he's saying, but it was basically he made it through, didn't say anything to anybody, but the minute he was done with that tournament, he called someone and said, I need a Theragun. Got a Theragun, now started implementing it. So when we reached out and started having that conversation, it was so natural. He was like, yes, I'm in. Let's just negotiate the deal. So Colin will tell you that it is part of what he uses every day. And I don't think it's because, I'm going to tell you this. Part of it is the ergonomics. Part of it is the science, part of it's the attachments. But honestly, when it comes right down to it, it's how it makes him feel. It's what it does to his body. So when he's standing over a ball and he's got a game on the line, that he's not thinking about his body. It puts him in a space where he can now play golf. And I think for me, I play golf. I take it with me all the time. I think it's, when you say, what are people looking for, or what are some of the things they're using it for, it affects your nervous system. So I can actually stimulate someone. I can actually get them more excited. I can wake up your nervous system, or I can turn it off. Meaning I can put you in a parasympathetic state. I can't tell you the number of athletes I've treated after a game, slowing down their nervous system. I use 2 Theraguns. We call it the sweep. And after about 2.5 minutes, they're literally falling asleep in the table because the stimulation is so strong.
Yeah.
Like I mentioned a minute ago, it goes through your thalamus, which is where you get that relaxing chemical release. And it seriously opens up. Your body is receiving information. We call that afferent information to the brain. And that's a calming effect. Man, I could go on and on about it, but
sure.
There's some great protocols around that we've built around golf.
It's incredible too, because I know with many of the Theraguns that you offer, there are regimens that come along with it. Yeah. Many of them are Bluetooth enabled, for example. You Correct. Can go ahead and you can kind of coordinate your own at-home treatment plan, so to speak, to help get you back in the game, or even just back on with life, so that you can make it a few more hours without, grimacing at whatever pain you're dealing with for that day. You've put so much thought, you and your team have put so much thought into this system. It's not just a product, it's a system, I would say. Yeah. That really is meant towards, as you mentioned it, full wellness, as opposed to just a quick, hey, I need to get this knot out of a muscle.
Yeah. Therabody, we transitioned or evolved from Theragun to Therabody. And I'll touch on this. This is kind of what you're mentioning. Sure. Theragun is a device. And we recognize that we offer more than that with our Bluetooth enabled products, with the protocols, the systems you just talked about. It's an ecosystem that surrounds you and your wellness. We want to provide healthy wellness solutions that are scientifically validated. And that's not just through our Theragun. We have our Thera1 products, or CBD, USDA certified organic. So now, to your point, we have an ecosystem around whatever it is you're trying to do. The Therabody name represents where we are now, and it also represents what we've been doing, which is really your ability to perform at a higher level. I had a guy the other day, we were talking about this, and I wish I could take the credit, but he had an observation. He said, Jason, and he works in the military, and he sees some of these high-performing military guys, and you understand what I mean when I say that, but he sees these high-performing military guys, it changes the way they move. And then he said to me, I start to understand the effect that this has on the people around that person. So it's not just what it does to you, but it's what you can do to the people, or with the people, or for the people around you when you're in a better state. So I know when I'm in pain, last thing I want to do is do a podcast. You know what I mean? But if I'm feeling,
how you feeling right now? You feeling
great? So if I'm feeling good, I worked out, I stretched, I did my thing that day, I'm ready. My fire is lit, and I want to light someone else's. And I really think that that's probably a deeper thing about Theragun. One of the things that I've also seen is the way it makes you feel is different than anything else. And so when someone else has a Theragun and you have a Theragun, there's this bond. Like, there's a really weird connection. And to your point, you walk around in a trade show, dude, did you feel that thing over there? You see that? And that's that energy is like, oh my God, that made me feel a way I've never felt before. That to me is probably the best part about it.
You're 100% right. And just so you know, the 5 of us that went, we all own one now. It's like, that totally resonates with me. It's like, did you get yours yet? Yeah, I'm going to get it now. So yeah, it was incredible. So you touched on a lot of things there, Doctor, and listeners. Once again, we're talking to Dr. Jason Wersland over at Therabody and the founder of Theragun. You can go out to Theragun.com to learn more about all the products that we were just talking about, because you offer so many more things than just Theragun. You offer, I'm seeing wave rollers, yoga mats. You're seeing all sorts of, body balms, lotions, all sorts of things to kind of fit into that ecosystem that you just mentioned, really for overall wellness.
And we also, we have a thing called Therabody University. And our Therabody University is just like a college. We have a 100, 200, and 300 level courses. The 100 level course could be easy for any golfer to take. And if any of your listeners need to understand that, we have a link we can share with them. But it basically just explains what it is, where it came from, how to use it, what to expect from using it, and then it explains our ecosystem around it. So you kind of understand how to apply it to your life. But Therabody University is really part of that obligation I mentioned to you a little while ago about, I learned what this was. I'm a conduit. I need to share this information. And we've got practitioners courses for PTs, DPTs, chiros, and therapists. We've got what we call our performance course, which is for athletic trainers, strength and conditioning coaches, and they all come with continuing education credits. So you're not just taking a class to understand better how to use it. You're taking a class and it applies to whatever your craft is. That goes back to that ecosystem you're talking about, Adam. That is, how does this fit in my life? My parents live in Norway. When my mom has an issue, that's not scalable for me to have to call her every time.
Right.
You can pop on the app, hit a couple buttons, let that Bluetooth run the machine, run the Theragun. She's just putting it on where the app tells her. And that was really our goal is, yes, we could give these products out, but that just becomes a device. It becomes a product. We want to make sure that you understand this comes with a whole ecosystem, a thought process, a psychology, what it does to your body. I have patients that call me and they just want a treatment. They don't need it. Their body doesn't need it. They just want me to come over and treat them for 10 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely a shift in the mindset of what it means to feel good. That's the way I kind of explain it to people. You know, you want to try to always be at your optimal performance, no matter what you're doing. I mean, a lot of us are sitting at home right now, working from home. I know I am. I sit here with my Theragun Mini. I just kind of go over my leg every so often, maybe my elbow to keep it good. And, you know, Dr. Jason, we're up against the clock here a little bit. So just one more quick question for you. And once again, listeners, please go out to Theragun.com to learn more about everything. People have listened to this. They've heard what I've had to say. They've heard what you've had to say. For those who still might be on the fence, what would you say to them to say, you know what, give it a try?
Man, that's a tough question because when I say what I'm going to say, it takes a little bit of faith and a little bit of trust. But I have yet to meet a person who takes this product and doesn't find a way to use it. Everyone has a thing. We all have a thing. It's my shoulder from this motorcycle accident. It's my low back from falling out of a tree. It's my knee from playing soccer. It's whatever that is. This will make you feel a way you've never felt before. 90% of what we suffer from is musculoskeletal issues, and that's exactly what Theragun addresses.
That's fantastic. And golfers, you're listening to this, you know that you need that. And I will add on to what the good doctor's saying. We review a lot of products on our site. This is going to be the 271st episode that we've done. This is one of the best products I've ever used. And I'm not saying that lightly. So please go out, visit Theragun.com. It is absolutely fantastic. Dr. Jason, I'm sure we could talk so much more, and I'm sure we will in the future. Thank you so much for coming on. Best of luck to you, and let's stay in touch.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.